basically saying that like the piece there is there's the ice cream. We can focus on the ice cream, but what's probably more empowering is to focus on the choice to go for the
Yes,
ice
the
cream,
choice.
right?
Yes, the choice to eat the ice cream to begin with. Right, the
Right,
choice.
right.
Right.
I do think it's also helpful in terms of any addictive relationships
Mm-hmm.
to kind of tune into the essence of what we're trying to get
Mm-hmm.
from the fill in the blank. So,
Yes.
um, ice cream, emotionally unavailable men,
True.
right? There's something that, like, there's kind of this compulsion to reach
Mm-hmm.
for something.
Yep.
And we
Yep.
could pathologize ourselves and say, like, we're doing something wrong and bad,
Right.
and
Right.
which has a limit, is limited in its functionality
Oh yeah.
around
Mm-hmm.
changing behavior. I think it
Right.
could be more helpful to tune into like the essence of what we're reaching for
Mm-hmm.
inside the toxic fill in the blank. So, like, for example, once upon a time, I used to smoke. It was like age
Mm-hmm.
14 to age 23.
Gotcha.
If I broke down what I was reaching for when I
Mm-hmm.
was a smoker and kind of like look for like the healthy impulse
Gotcha.
embedded within that. It was often something like community. There's something about
Hmm.
taking a break and then stepping outside, and there's an insta group of humans that we are all
Hmm.
doing the same thing. So there's a certain quality of
Ah.
community
Okay.
experience to smoking.
Got you.
Um, there's also this practice of like pausing and consciously breathing, ironically, right?
Ah.
Like,
That
like
is
you're
true. That is so true.
there's
Oh
like
my
an
gosh.
intentional breathing that's going on in the
Right.
process of smoking. So, and like I could go down the list of like
Mm-hmm.
various things, like ice cream. So often there's a certain level of like, I'm craving sweetness
Mm-hmm.
in my desire for sweets, right?
Right.
Which usually, like, there's a little desire for some degree of affection in those
Mm.
reaches
Mm-hmm.
for ice cream.
Mm.
Or like I can think of my savior sort of tendency with men that weren't necessarily good for me. There was a certain quality of like, if I could fix this person, then
Gotcha.
I'll feel more empowered
Mm-hmm.
or needed
Right.
or like loved on some core level because
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to change this person and or validate, like prove that I'm worthy of love, something like that.
Yep.
So but like the essence of what I'm looking for is
Mm-hmm.
some degree of love and some degree of deep emotional connection.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I like when I work with clients and we're discussing some sort of compulsive addictive behavior, I
Right.
think before we just like automatically pathologize that, it's important
Mm-hmm.
to listen to what is the essential need and want embedded in that impulse, that
Mm-hmm.
compulsion.
Oh, I can believe that. Like you said, because even sometimes people might mention to me, well, you might say, I don't understand why this person is hooked up with this person. Doesn't it seem like they would want I said, no, she's getting something out of it.
Right.
There's something she's getting out of it, or she wouldn't be there. And it's something he's getting out of it from her.
Mm,
Yeah, her needing whatever it is she's getting out of it, and him needing whatever it is he's getting out of her. That's why it works. You
mm-hmm,
know.
mm-hmm,
So yeah, like you said, is there's some type of attachment involved,
mm-hmm.
love that's needing to be filled, some type of void, and like you said, usually involving love.
Yeah. So it's like it's important to recognize the essence of what we're looking for as we, let's say, decommission old survival strategies,
Mm-hmm.
um, to help us point the way towards like what are some more skillful ways of getting that essential need met.
Got you. That makes sense. That makes sense. I've got a three-part question and then something else I wanted to see if you could comment on before we end it.
Mhm.
And the first of the three, the first question, which is three parts, what is your definition of a toxic relationship? What would you define as the red flags? And why do you think people stay in it so long? So that's the three part, and then I'll so I'll let you answer that, and then I'll ask about the other part.
Sure. What's my definition of a toxic relationship? Um, Stuck in a mutually reinforcing reenactment of unresolved trauma where no one is really thriving.
Ah, love that definition. I do. I love it, and you're right because it is mutually, and like you said, because you just to me, it's like you just reinforcing each other's brokenness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately. And also, I'll say, like, finally breaking that pattern,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like there's something kind of sad about the fact that trauma keeps on reenacting itself.
Mm-hmm.
But on a kind of certain, almost God level, it's like it's it's kind of like a cosmic do-over. It's like, okay, you didn't
Yes.
do that. You didn't
Right.
learn your lesson. Let's give it another go.
There you go. We're gonna try this again,
We're
like
gonna
you
keep on
said.
practicing
Yep.
this and like,
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
oh, you finally figured out how to say no. Great,
There
good
you
job,
go. Yep. 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 Oh, you up. You up. You got to take the class again. Yeah.
good job. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yep. That type of thing. That's true. That is so true.
yeah.
The other
So,
part, yeah. So like
what
you
was it?
said,
Red flags.
mm-hmm.
Preoccupation with the other person. So if like my mind is constantly focused over there and
Mm-hmm.
not focused and attending to what's happening over here, that to me is like a signal that something's off of balance.
Mm-hmm.
Off balance. Um, and then, like I said, there's mutually reinforcing traumas, which usually have some degree of survival strategy playing out. So there's the
Mm.
four F's of various survival strategies: fighting, right? Yelling, complaining, anger, resentment, some
Mm-hmm.
degree of fight response; flight, dismissal, ignoring, avoiding, yeah, not addressing stuff;
Mm-hmm.
freeze, depressed, disassociated, numb; and fawning, disconnected from myself and people pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm spending most of my time, if either of us are spending most of our time in one
Mm-hmm.
of those four F's or in some combination of all of those four F's, then
Right.
something's off. Something is, some, yeah, painful
Something's
trauma
definitely
is.
off. Yeah. Yeah. So one thing I want to ask you, and I know we got just a couple of minutes, but I'm wondering like when women come to you, I'm thinking they're probably, maybe just your comment on this, dealing with a lot of shame because
Mm,
especially when I think about women who have dealt with narcissistic abuse. A lot of
mhm,
them, their bodies have been broken down and they have
mhm,
ended up developing this distorted concept
mhm,
of intimacy because
mhm.
of, how would I say, having a partner who is so broken and treats them like as if they're a machine.
Mm.
Have you noticed a lot of that? The shame from that with the women and
Sure. I mean, I think so many of us said yes to these toxic relationships because there's, at a base level, sense of low self-esteem that probably preceded those toxic relationships, unless we're
mm-hmm.
talking about, like, if we're talking about adult romantic relationships,
Yes.
like childhood parent
Mm-hmm.
relationships usually had some degree of like training us
Mm-hmm.
around, um, ignoring our core needs and boundaries.
Right.
And so that situation creates an experience of shame. We often, like the child's brain, can
Mhm.
go, "Oh, something's wrong with my parent. That's a little too threatening.
Mhm.
That feels too safe."
Right.
I'm sorry,
Unsafe.
unsafe.
Yeah.
Um, and then so often times the child will go, "Well, then something must be wrong with me."
Mhm.
And then we come into our adult lives and then we recreate relationships that mutually reinforce that sort of story that something is wrong with me.
Mhm.
So hopefully somewhere in that cycle we can have like an awareness and choose a different pattern. We
Mhm.
can choose to not get into that relationship. We can choose to like say, "Oh, something is right with me versus wrong
Mhm.
with me." And I think it's helpful anytime we're dealing with relational traumas is to like seek out healthier relating opportunities
Mhm.
to kind of expose us to new possibilities around, oh, this is what a kind conversation looks like.
Right, right. Yeah. Nobody about to break the wall or try to seek me out and you just, "Oh, okay, we can have a disagreement without it go." Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
didn't know this was on the menu of options.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly, but all right. Oh gosh. Yes.
yeah.
I can have dark chocolate and not ice cream.
Right, and also to be with other women or other
Yes.
people who've been
Yes.
through the same thing is, and sometimes it can be easier to have compassion for somebody else before we can have compassion for ourselves. And then
Mhm.
so to see somebody who's gone through a similar story and to feel care and love for them, it's almost we can like make a little bit of a U-turn and then like bring some of that love and care back to ourselves.
Mm.
So, point being, if we're talking about shame, it's really helpful to expose yourself to healthier
Ah,
relationships. And if that
yes.
feels foreign, inaccessible,
Mhm.
challenging, like little baby steps in that
Baby
direction.
steps.
There was a son, he was devoured by earth. There was a God, they call him the Father. And there was a means to make a valley with grace out of this hole that I've dug for me. He made a valley of grace where things would change, and maybe they'd take up the cross high again. The valley of grace was never the same after he had died. The love that refines. There's no sense in trying to do it on my own. He gave more than I could have known. He turned those valleys into places to learn instead of burn and perish away. And night's never so cold without His grace. How could I say that I've seen the world from His great love? How could I know what He could love? How would I have seen what He had in store for me if I didn't give up and let Him be my valley of grace, where things would change and maybe they'd take up the cross high again? The valley of grace never was the same after He had died. The love that refines. So much I wish I could give back, but I'm not intact to be sharing all of that. You took the price to give me that life, and now it's never gonna fade away. When I see I need more of Him, He whispers the sweetest of mercies upon my ears, and I won't go back the way it was again, again, again. And now a valley of grace.